Utah Jazz Special on Season 2, Episode 1. Welcome one and all to the Season 2, Episode 1 of the unofficial podcast. I'm your host, Dallin Smith, and we got some stuff to talk about today. We actually got YouTube content, hopefully. Now, I think I figured out a better way to actually record this so that I don't have to mix my mic and everything and figure things out that way. I just figured out a way to connect my iPhone to my OBS, and we'll just record it this way, and it'll be fantastic. I'm going on a little too much about that. So I was going to do this like a super while back, but the issue came to be is that I am not as eloquent with dates and all that. I'm just not that good with stuff. And there were a lot of things with the BYU and the Broncos that were just super disappointing, and I just didn't really feel like talking about those things. So I was like, let's just wait. And then the Jazz season came up and the opener came and went, and I just never got to it because I just wasn't feeling it at those moments in time. So I do apologize for that, but it just is what it is. But in this episode, we're going to get you caught up with the whole season, all 14 or 15 games that they've played so far. We got 57 left to go. Be talking about Mike Conley's impact. We talking about Donovan Mitchell, how he's becoming, basically a superstar for the Jazz and being worth that $195 million that I was telling everybody that he was going to be worth and is worth. And how great the Jazz could be. Also, Jordan Clarkson's impact. I can't stress enough how much of an impact he's made. But we're going to talk about that as well. And instead of a question of the week for today, we're going to be just talking about the TNT crew last night with their weird comments about stuff at halftime and at post game and what have you. Because this is going to hopefully go up on the Utah Jazz Diehards Unite Facebook page so that I could explain myself better. Look, I'm not the best typer when it comes to stuff with my takes and everything, and people get super confused, or because I do it too. Sometimes I just don't read things super well, so I think explaining them is just a lot better. So without further ado, folks, let's get right into it. We're not going to be sharing a ton of statistical things for the 15 games that were brought up. I'm literally just going to look up the scores and just talk about certain stats that I remember. Let me move this up here because I almost knocked it actually off the desk. That would have been stupid of me to freaking do. We're off to a great start for the second season. I got to tell you, folks. But the Jazz start off the season on the 23rd of December. They play the Portland Trail Blazers. We win 120-100. I think three or four guys, if I have to click into it, I'll click into it, whatever. No, it's two guys with 20 points. It was Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Bogdanovich had 15 points. Mike Conley had 18. Joe Ingles had 14. Clarkson had 15, and Derek Favors with 10. So you had 7 guys in double figures. And just to let you know, for this entire 15-game schedule, the Jazz literally will have 5 to 7 guys in double figures. Most of the wins that I mentioned. And then we play against the Timberwolves and don't do so great. We lose to honestly a really bad Portland or Timberwolves team. 3 guys had 20 points, and again 6 guys were in double digits. So even in a loss, it was 116-111. It was very good. Some good stat lines. Mike Conley had 6 rebounds and 4 assists with 20 points, and he was really good. Clarkson had 23. I think he shot a really high percentage in that game. I don't know. I tend to block out the losses. I'm going to be honest with you folks. Then the Jazz get a 1-point win on the road with Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, you had, well, this one you had only 5 guys, but you had 5 guys with 20 points. You had Mike Conley, a near triple-double with 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and 20 points. Donovan Mitchell had 20 points, 5 assists, and 2 rebounds when he had, got to back up. Rudy Gobert had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, the Stars played good in that game. It wasn't like the best shooting night or anything, but they got the job done. Donovan Mitchell really struggled to start that game, but he ended up hitting the game winner. So you know what? We don't talk about the first parts of the game. Then we come back down to earth again. We lose to the Phoenix Suns 106-95. They really just kind of took it to the Jazz. You still had 5 guys in double figures. Donovan Mitchell with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. I think this was probably the worst assist outing for him. Mike Conley had 16, 5 and 4, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Royce played very well, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. So, the Jazz just did well in that regard. Then we go to San Antonio. We go play the Clippers. We're 106-100. The Jazz held the 2 stars, and they only had 4 guys with double figures in scoring, and they held Kawhi Leonard to like a really poor shooting percentage. Same with Paul George. Until like the end. Mike Conley with 33 points, 7 assists, and 2 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell, 15 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. And we had 5 guys in double figures with scorings. I mean, Jazz could freaking score. I mean, you just, even like early in the season, when you could see that they're struggling a little bit. They're having some great outings as far as the offense is concerned. Then we play the Spurs. It wasn't even a contest. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists for Royce O'Neal, 28 points for Bogdanovich, 7 points and 16 rebounds for Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell with 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists. Mike Conley didn't have a single rebound, but he had 15 points, 4 assists. Jordan Clarkson, 18 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. And Joe Ingles with 13 points and 7 rebounds. Again, you have 6. You had 6 guys in double figures. 130-109 was the final for that one. And then we go to the Nets. We go to the Nets game where they did not have Kevin Durant, but they had Kyrie Irving, and he went off on the Jazz. Like, he wasn't the highest scorer of the night, but he didn't miss. Jarrett Allen had 18 rebounds and 19 points, whereas I think that's a better stat line than most other guys had. Donovan Mitchell had 31 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. Mike Conley, 8 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson with 12. Now, here's the thing. We had only 4 guys scoring double figures. They really just came out defensively. The Jazz scored 14 in the first quarter. I mean, if you look at the rest of the quarters, they played decently well except the fourth. So, I mean, and they won the second quarter by 2 points, but they just got off to such a bad start that it just was not recoverable. Then we go to the Knicks game, and this was the only game really, even if we look at the Timberwolves game, they just kind of didn't have it, where this was a loss that they should have won, in my opinion. They had 4 guys in double figures only. We're up by a decent amount, and then the fourth quarter, they just let it go, and the Jazz lost 112-100 to a 8-man Knicks team, mind you. 8 guys. So, just how the cookie crumbles, which sucks because at that point, we're trying to get above 500, keep the momentum going, and they just don't do it. Have their second road loss of the season. But the Jazz are 7-2, so right now, those are the only 2 losses they have on the road right now. Jazz right now are on a 7-game win streak. It started with the Jazz Bucks. They win this game 131-118. They don't lose a quarter. They had Royce O'Neal, who had one of the best stat lines, I think, of his entire career, even with the double-doubles and everything he's had. He's got 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Bogey had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Gobert, even though he didn't have the double-double, the 9 points and 14 rebounds is really something. Donovan Mitchell, 32 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Mike Conley, 17 points, 10 assists, and 3 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson off that bench, 26 points, 2 assists, and 6 rebounds. And we have 5 guys scoring in double digits, 3 guys scoring over 20 points. You got a 30-point scorer. Giannis Antetokounmpo got hurt, but he came back into the game, and so far he hasn't really been having too much issues with the injury that he suffered that day. So it's been good. Then we go to the Detroit Pistons, and the Pistons, look, at this game, the Pistons are 2-7. And the Jazz are 5-4 coming into this game. So you think that they should just blow them out. Here's my take with that. I think really because the Pistons, I don't think they're necessarily what their record shows, especially then. They beat the Suns and came back down by like 20 to beat them. So I don't really think that this game should have just been won like handily. Like I knew that they would probably make a run just because they've done it before. So, and they've done it to a team that beat us. So it's, kind of a history repeats itself thing, and they just go ahead and they not beat us, but they came back. We're up by 17 at halftime. I think it was 60 or 57-40. We had a 17-point third quarter. It's the only quarter we lost. And you'll notice, especially in the 7-game winning streak, normally when we win, we lose one quarter. That's it. And then we close out 22-18. It was a very defensive battle, but I think that's the thing. Like, we're winning with our offense, getting to 5-4, now getting 6-4, playing offense, But this game, I think we finally realized how good of a defensive team we are and really just kind of took it to them defensively. Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell kind of held the grounds. Okay, so he was tied. So Donovan Mitchell only had 3 assists and 2 rebounds, where Conley had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Clarkson had 18. You only had 3 guys in double figures, but they still figured out a way to win the game, which was pretty sick. So then we go to the Cavaliers. It was a 117-87 outing, and the Cavaliers aren't bad. They're 5-7, which in the East is actually pretty decent. But I think they had a ton of guys out, and so it just wasn't as easy for them to really score or do anything. Donovan Mitchell, 27 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Bogdanovich, 20 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Gobert had 10 rebounds, 4 points. Mike Conley, 12 points, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson, 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. And Georges Niang had 14 points, 5 rebounds. Again, you have 5 guys in double figures and 3 guys with 20 points, which put them over the top. And they didn't really start well in this game, but they had a lead at halftime, a big one, and then they just blew them away. Now, this Hawks game that came up was pretty interesting because they won 116-92. Let's look at their star guy. He had 4 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. He had 4 points. This dude averages, I'm actually going to have to look it up. I'm curious. Trae Young. There we go. Let's see here. We're going to just look at the stats here. For this season, he averages... Oh, come on. Well, he's averaging 30. He's averaging his worst minute, or second worst minutes of his career. But 24 points. Okay, so that's 20 points the Jazz did not give up to Trae Young, and they end up winning. They actually had 5 guys actually scoring double figures, but it wasn't their star guy. They just let everybody else beat them, which was really, really insane. 10 points for Georges Niang, 16 points for Jordan Clarkson, 15 points for Mike Conley, 26 points for Donovan Mitchell, 15 points for Rudy Gobert, 17 points for Bogdanovich, while Mike Conley had 8 assists, 4 rebounds, Donovan Mitchell had 4 assists and 3 rebounds. Gobert had 1 assist and 13 rebounds. And Bogdanovich 1 assist and 3 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson 4 assists and 7 rebounds. Georges Niang 3 assists and 6 rebounds. So they just really kind of took it to him. Then we kind of... Oh, whoa. I don't want to do that. I got out of all the games, man. Jeez, I need them stats, man. Come on. Chop, chop. Then we kind of fall back to earth a little bit. Not really. We still score 109 points. We went 109 to 105. Down 5 points at halftime to the Denver Nuggets, who took the Jazz out in the playoffs in the summer. They won this game, 109 to 105. I just said that. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've done the podcast, so if I babble on, I apologize. Bojan, 17 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Rudy Gobert, 15 points, 1 assist, and 13 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell, 18 points, 7 points, and 3 rebounds. Mike Conley, 14 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson, 23 points, 1 assist, and 3 rebounds. Georges Niang, 11 points and 3 rebounds. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys scoring double figures. Donovan Mitchell struggled in the first half. He had 2 points in the first half and then ended up getting 16, hitting 2 huge shots at the end of the game. He was actually brilliant in this game because he assisted on 7 points, and he really made it so that the team could get involved first, and then he just kind of took over at the end. Not really necessarily took over. He had a lot of turnover issues. He still kind of has those things to work out, but he really, really played special. So, I mean, it's one of those things that really, to me, makes him above what he was before, He doesn't have to necessarily rely on scoring in order to get the job done. But he's going to be scoring a lot in these next 2 games because the Jazz play the Pelicans, and they won 118 to 102. I don't want to look at Zion's stats. Who cares about Zion Williamson? I'm just kidding. Joe Ingles comes back. He had a Achilles injury for a while. We still won without him, but he has made a huge impact since. He had 15 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds. Georges Niang, 10 points, 1 assist, and 1 rebound. Jordan Clarkson, 18 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. And I've been looking at the guys with high points, but this one was interesting to me. Mike Conley had 6 points, 10 assists, 2 rebounds. He is the first Jazz man this season to do that. I think he's the only Jazz man to do that. I'm pretty sure because I just read off all the stats. So yeah, if I'm missing something, sorry. Again, haven't done this for a while. Plus, I'm running on not that much sleep. So. And when we got Donovan Mitchell, 28 points, 4 assists, and 7 rebounds. Rudy Gobert, 13 points, 1 assist, and 18 rebounds. Then Bogey, 11 points, 3 assists, and 7 rebounds. And Royce just threw in 6 points willy-nilly. You had 6 guys in double figures again. And the Jazz just took it to them. It was one of the higher-rated games they actually had. And it wasn't their highest scoring outing. It was actually a pretty interesting game, but they played so phenomenal in that game. It was amazing. Now, last night, and I knew this was going to happen, the Jazz win 129 to 118. We only win by 11 after blowing them out by like 17. No, 16. 16. It was 118 to 102. My math's correct, which I think it is. We get 43 points in the first quarter, right? I'm pissed off. I'm thinking, man, this is going to be this is going to be our 5th loss of the year. We're going to be 10-5. No chance at like that first seed this early in the year. But they pulled it out. They were down 16. They got punched in the mouth, and then they went and showed the Pelicans who's boss. Here's the interesting thing. They scored 70 points in the first half. Pelicans scored 69, which is too much, in my opinion. But still, they came back from a 16-point deficit and took the lead. And took the lead at halftime. Didn't lose another quarter. Didn't lose the lead again. It was freaking awesome. Because here's the thing, folks. With the Timberwolves game earlier this year, the Jazz really just got hit in the mouth and didn't do anything. Like, it was one of those that's like, okay, like, you're as soft as last year. You guys suck. Like, it was ridiculous. But now it's like, okay, now we could prove that we could get hit in the mouth and come back and just put the pedal down with thriving force. I mean, it was just insane. Like the amount of turnovers they were creating on defense, getting to the bucket in this run in the second quarter, hitting their shots. I mean, the Jazz just poured it on in the second quarter. It was amazing to watch. I was super pissed off when we're going to lose this game to, I think we're going to be all right. We're going to win this game. They're going to come back to earth, and that's what happened. It's 100% what happened. We have 19 points, 0 assists by Jordan Clarkson, who, I'm not looking at any defensive stats. He was brilliant defensively last night in that second quarter. And people are like, he's not that good of a defender. I beg to differ. Look, Clarkson, and this is why I wanted to talk about him, and I didn't put him on my list, and I should have. This dude plays so hard every game. Every game. He plays harder than Donovan. He plays harder than Rudy. He plays harder than anybody on this team. Ends up with 19 points. Had a great defensive outing. Conley had 20 points, 6 assists, and 2 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell, 36 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Rudy Gobert, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists. Bogey got his little stroke going back. He took a lot more inside shots, which I like to see that because you're struggling with your shot. Take some inside shots and get your points. He had 16 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. And Jordan Niang, 8 points. Joe Ingles, 8 points. The bench played super well last night still. You have 5 guys with double figures, but really that second quarter it killed him. And it was a brilliant game last night. I couldn't be more proud to be a Jazz fan last night. And there was some weird controversy. It was not really controversy, but it was, something to the degree of just like storyline stuff. And I'll get to that at the end because, like I said, we're going to talk about that in a minute.